Senator Tony Strickland, thank you so much for making time for us.
Thanks for having me, as always. I appreciate it.
So, I mean, in your capacity as vice chair of the Senate Transportation Committee, I want to get your reaction to the High-Speed Rail Authority Board's big moves this week, starting with the abrupt appointment and vote for a new board president, Steve Cava. Just your reaction to how that all played out.
My first reaction, Ashley, is here's a political appointee who has no experience on a major infrastructure project. We're at a time right now where this project is at $231 billion and counting. We have lack of cash flow, lack of resources. They don't know what's going forward. We just got done with the informational hearing where the Inspector General said this is unrealistic. Even my colleague on the Democratic side, who's been a big proponent of this, called it a disaster. We left that informational hearing with more questions than answers. And the response from the governor now is, I'm going to put my political hack in there who has no experience in this field. I would say that it gives us less faith moving forward, because the reason why you want those positions, you want people in those positions who actually have experience in the field to help us navigate to what would be an amazing project. But clearly, everybody knows in Sacramento, this project as proposed to people of California is never going to be built. It's the most wasteful project in world history, and it is time to pull the plug. I've told my colleagues, we can't continue to waste billions of dollars that we don't have. Whoever the next governor of California is facing a massive budget deficit that we have to close, and we have to make tough decisions. The easiest decision would be to pull the plug on this high-speed rail.
So I'll circle back to that in a second, but I mean, the High-Speed Rail Authority Board and the powers that be, the Newsom administration, they're making clear that they're trying to move forward with it. The board approved the project's largest contract yet at $3.5 billion for track and systems this week. And that went to a single bidder. Just your reaction to that and the likelihood we see that track built out this year.
Well, it's funny because I told my wife when I came home, there's a bill going through the legislature right now that says if anything shows weakness on this project, that they don't have to release that information. We're going the other way in terms of transparency. And I would like to remind everybody, this is the people's money. It's not Governor Newsom's money. The people have a right to know how their money is being spent. And we're taking the other track. And now there's one bid, no bid contract. It goes out billions of dollars. And the reason for that bill that's going through the legislature is because they have the largest change order in history. And people want transparency. They want to know, this is a project that was supposed to be done in 2020 at $30 billion, and now it's $231 billion. And that doesn't take into account for any borrowing at all, as a nonpartisan legislative analyst says. And as everybody knows, when you borrow money, you actually pay more money back than when you borrow. And so we're talking about a project that is almost the equivalency of the entire state budget, one project. And I think there's a better way to spend hardworking family money than this one project. For example, Prop 36, to give law enforcement the tools they need to keep us safe. Another one is we have shovel-ready projects throughout Southern California to get ready for the Olympics. And we're making tough decisions on university, for example, for your kids and your grandkids for a better future. I fought to, make sure that we don't cut into UC and CSU system. Again, this one project is wasting billions of dollars. Another reason, everybody says the affordability crisis is the number one issue. Well, we have the highest gas prices in the nation because we tax, and a large portion of that tax is going to this one project.
And I mean, speaking of where the money is going at this point, it's really not clear how some of this is going to get funded. You mentioned the Inspector General saying that what they had presented to you earlier this year for a business plan was not realistic,
right.
Technically violated the state law because it had a lot of gaps. The board this week, though, approved an updated version of that plan, but it's not clear when it was exactly posted. There isn't a date on the plan. But they unanimously approved it. Has your committee had the ability to get in there and look at it before they went ahead?
No, not before they went ahead, but they showed the last plan in the informational hearing, and then that's when the Inspector General said this is unrealistic. The nonpartisan legislative analyst had many different concerns, and even the legislature. There's a lot of portions of that plan that I know my colleagues will not go along with. For example, very controversial, they're taking what we call the TIF, local government money, tax money, and they try to put it into this high-speed rail. So you're taking money from local governments that fund their law enforcement to do this. I guarantee you, the League of California Cities came out very strongly against this plan, and I guarantee you my colleagues are not going to go along with that facet of the plan. A complete exemption of CEQA. Look, I think we need CEQA reform completely, but a complete exemption of CEQA is not something that a lot of my colleagues are for. And then, there's other different provisions that, for example, they went from 2 tracks to 1 track. And that 1 track now is sharing that track with freight and Metrolink. Is that really high-speed rail? So there's many problems with the proposal that's before us that even the legislature, I don't think, will go along with.
Even like data centers, I know that's another proposal they're floating. I mean, there are some jurisdictions considering banning those in the state. So. Oh,
and then the energy. They said they want to take over and be able to move energy lines wherever they want to go, and they're going to tell the energy companies, no, we're going to supersede you and we're going to move these lines without your approval. I guarantee you that those energy companies are going to come to the legislature and say that's unacceptable. This is our power lines, not theirs.
I mean, do you expect this year then for the legislature, your committee, to get back in there with the CEO and have them, be held accountable for some of these things that the board pretty quickly was able to approve?
Well, we need to get back to the legislature, back to our committee, and let's go through all these items. But again, I'm the voice, I believe the voice of reason, that says, my dad always taught me when I was a little kid, when you dig a hole for yourself, best way to get that hole is to stop digging. And again, I firmly believe, all my colleagues know, this will never be built as proposed to people of California. It was a 3-card Monte from the very beginning. We can't continue to waste these billions of dollars because there's a lot of pressure from good projects that would be good for Californians that we're having to make tough decisions to cut. At the same time, they're willing to throw in money on a project that we know is not going to be built. And the people of California would never have voted for a project that goes from Merced to Bakersfield at billions and billions of dollars.
And I mean, you've recommended pulling the plug on this. What do you do with the infrastructure, the viaducts the pillars of concrete that have been built in the Central Valley? What do you do with those?
We'll have to figure out and use that material, but this isn't uncommon. This isn't like it hasn't happened in California before. I grew up in the Ventura County area, and let me just give you one. There's a big off-ramp, wagon wheel juncture on the 101, and it's like a freeway interchange. Well, they already started building the freeway interchange, and they stopped the funding in the first Brown administration. And so you still have that, and it goes into downtown Oxnard. So it's not like that hasn't happened before where they pull the plug on a project, because there was supposed to be 2 or 3 more freeways that were supposed to be built in Southern California. So it's not like the Transportation Committee in a previous generation didn't pull a plug on a project like this. Again, why the argument on the other side is, well, we are investing this money, so you got to keep investing, and it's good money after bad. That's like a gambler that lost all their money and then they go to the pawn shop. Well, we've already invested $1,000. Let's go take another $10,000 to get our original $1,000 back. It's just not smart. It's not good for the people of California.
Ian Chowdhury, the CEO, though, has said for more than a year that there are private investors expressing interest in this. Do you believe that? Do you believe that actually happens?
No. Like, if you're a private investor and they said, okay, this project was $33 billion, is supposed to be done in 2020. Today it's $231 billion and counting. And by the way, it's supposed to be done in 2020. Now it's 2040 at best. Would you invest in a project like that? I guarantee you Gavin Newsom, who's pretty smart at investments, is not using his own money for that investment. I think that's laughable. And they can't even answer basic questions. If you're a private investor, I said this when this first came out a long time ago, okay, we're competing with airlines, right? How much is a ticket going to cost from San Francisco to Los Angeles? How long is it going to take? Is it really high-speed rail if you have like 7 stops and it takes you 8 hours to get there? Who's going to do that? Who's going to ride that? You need to know those basic fundamental questions. You need to answer those basic fundamental questions in order to move forward. And any private industry will, how much are you going to charge for a ticket? And will it be competitive with driving, and will it be competitive with flying? Those are the basic questions that they still haven't answered, that they should have answered a decade ago.
For people who are watching this, who don't understand how those questions weren't sorted out when this was pitched to voters, who is to blame for not having this figured out early on?
Well, I think all the policymakers that voted for this are to blame. And as we keep moving forward and keep wasting billions of dollars, there's a lot of people they're to blame for this. It's a fiasco. It's a disaster. And the bad thing about this is a lack of confidence in us doing big things in California. Look, we need water projects. We need a lot of infrastructure. We need to upgrade our grid because, for example, a lot of the goals in the legislature is to get more people on EV cars. Well, that's not even realistic. Right now, we have less than 200,000 charging stations. In order to have a realistic goal that they have, you need 2.2 million charging stations. By the way, the worst thing that can happen in California is everybody plug in an EV car at the same time because we don't have enough electric capacity. Those are major issues we have to solve moving forward. And a lot of people won't have faith that we can solve those big issues because this has been the centerpiece and a poster child of the worst public project in world history. It's been mismanaged from the very beginning because they couldn't answer those basic questions.
Yeah, I mean, transparency, at least for our organization, has been a bit tough in the last couple of months with leadership.
Yeah.
Ian Chowdhury has not yet agreed to do an interview. And then, and I do want to ask you about the new chairman of this board, Steve Cava. You mentioned he is Governor Newsom's, he's kind of a point man for him. He right now oversees the Protocol Foundation. It's a nonprofit that fundraises essentially, and then that money is used to help the governor's office travel out of state, do some of these out of state initiatives that helped him send the CEOs of major businesses here cell phones last year. It doesn't sound like Steve plans to step back from that role. Is that problematic to you, given his vote on the board?
Yeah, no, there was an old saying during Watergate, follow the money. So let's go see what happens and transpires. If the people who are benefiting from this high-speed rail and spending billions of dollars are now starting to give money to a foundation that allows Gavin Newsom to travel around to become president of the United States, I think people should have a problem with that. I think this new appointment, in order to be clear and have faith, lack of the experience is one thing, but also that angle of it, he should pick one side or the other. Either you're president of this organization, this nonprofit, or that you run the high-speed rail, because you're now opening the door for criticism, and criticism is well-deserved. If a lot of people who are benefiting from the high-speed rail decisions financially are now starting to give money to a foundation to let Gavin Newsom travel around the country to run for president, that's a problem.
Gavin Newsom, as you know, has like months left in office. And for people watching this who say, why care about this now? We're waiting on a new governor, basically. What would you say?
Well, I'm hoping that we get a new governor. I'm counting down the days, to be honest, because it's the first time in California history more people are leaving the state than coming in since the gold rush. We have such a wonderful state. We have 6 of the top 10 public universities. We have a diversified economy. We have the best weather in the world. We live in an oasis. And people are leaving our state to go to Montana, that's frozen 3 months a year, or the heat and humidity of Florida and Texas. My brother had to go to Florida because his job left California and went to Florida. Look, I want my kids and grandkids to live here in California. I think California is worth fighting for. And everything's great about this state other than the leadership. And I'm waiting for new leadership. I always say we're one leader away from prosperity again in California, making golden again. But we need new leadership. This current governor has not done a good job. Clearly, he hasn't done a good job. Just look at the numbers. Again, most of Californians say we're on the wrong track right now. I'm waiting for new leadership. I'm co-chairing Steve Hilton's campaign. I would love to see Steve win, but I think we need new leadership. The bottom line is we need a fresh start here in California, and we need to turn the state around because it's on the wrong track.
Before I let you go, is there anything else you think we should know about the high-speed rail?
The amount of number, when you talk about $231 billion, people just don't understand how big that number is.
You're talking about the maximum price for LA to San Francisco.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it's going to be larger than that because that doesn't take into account borrowing. The whole budget of California is one project. This is why I would look right at the camera. Is one project worth the entire state budget? When you're talking about healthcare, when you're talking about public safety, the university system, and everything we do in California, the infrastructure, is one project spending worth. And then the affordability crisis. Is you're paying $8 a gallon of gas worth this high-speed rail? I say no.
All right. Senator Tony Strickland, we really appreciate your time.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.